Hi, everybody. July 4th! Yay! I'm so glad we achieved independence and freedom. How about you guys? Sorry, I didn't realize that it was 5 because I was listening to this man talk about another year celebrating imaginary freedom. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You. Yeah, July 4th. It's been very quiet here in Arizona. I did hear a couple of fireworks last night, but that's it. South Carolina, ooh, a week before and a week after, blowing up. Anderson, South Carolina. Yeah. Well, I'll post the link to that man's video if you want to listen. There you go. The link is in the chat. So it is July 4th, 2024. I hope you are all doing fabulously well. I say that with a bit of sarcasm because I know a lot of you are not doing fabulously well, and I'm with you, and I'm sorry. I know. Alicia DeMoss, hello. Sandra, hi. Andrew Cruz, James B. Yeah. My dogs went nuts with the fireworks, and nobody really has any consideration for the animals. Because we've got to shoot off our fireworks to celebrate our independence and our freedom. Yeah. Already. No smooth streaming for never lose truth. So, let me just say hello to whoever is in here, James B. and Julio and Angelos and Rage Against the Machine and Donna Davidson. You've been in Laughlin for a week. 115 degrees. Too hot for me. Okay. People were asking, concerned, because they didn't see you in the chat. I, too, mentioned it, and it's very nice to see you. Very nice to see you. Dude, hello. Tom, Taylor News, Barb, and Joni and Kim Blanchard, Rods, Third Eye Sore, Ruled by Fictions, Sheepdog Patriot, Toyashi, hi. Look, anybody who gets even the slightest bit upset that I don't pronounce their names, you obviously have not been with me for a while. If you had, you would know. My brain, something's wrong with my brain. Names, I don't know why. And again, I wish I could say it was the stroke. It wasn't. Because it was happening. It's been happening my entire life. I don't know why. Anyway, so, yeah. Hypocrites Matrix. Agnes, hey. Cecilia Amirati, hello. Tom, Oracle 11. Saddest 4th in memory. It's the quietest 4th in memory. I wonder what it's going to sound like tonight, but I haven't even seen, very many people posting. That's why I opened that video just to see what he was saying, and I don't see anyone. And my subscriber here also said nobody is wishing anybody a happy July 4th. Family on Facebook, and it's kind of like, I think a whole lot of Americans get, oh, Right. Yeah. It's done. The great American experiment. Poof. 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 It went. Did I say hello, Barb? I can't. Not take a capture of this, but I did because I thought that the image change, we might see Doppler radar not pulsing as intensely as it is up here, New Mexico, Texas. And look at these supercells. Oh, wow. And look, they just throw these supercells into this line of supercells, and now it's gotten bigger, more powerful. Nanobots. They have their GPSs in them. They can receive and send data. They can move on their own. Supercomputers put in the coordinates, and you have the super cell activation from the nanotechnology. Can I say definitively that is what we're looking at? No. That is my estimation, because there are videos on nanotechnology being used in weather warfare. And I have them on my Never Lose Truth channel, my Rumble channel. Check it out. Nanobots dropped into the atmosphere in the billions. Now, we also have a very strong pulse right here, Nevada, right over this lake. Right over this lake. I've never seen it like this until today. So what are they doing? Are they pulsating water out of the lake? Because, you know, they can do that. You know, right? Yeah. Electromagnetic frequencies. They can lift humidity out of a very tiny lake, out of a big puddle. Yeah. Out of rivers, out of oceans, out of lakes, and they can move that in cloud somewhere else and boom, unleash flash flooding. But you all know that. So we've got a lot of supercell action in Oklahoma. We've got a lot of extremely low frequencies. Got the supercell activation here in Florida. Of course, it's always going in a westerly direction. And we've got some supercells down here in Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama, some in Georgia, got them in Kentucky and Tennessee, got them in Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, New York, and Virginia, making its way into Maryland. Let me just refresh. And no, good. Tornado alerts have been extinguished. But be very careful, because these severe thunderstorms bring about a whole lot of damaging winds, right? You know that. Hail, baseball-size hail, flash flooding. Let's see the live. Let me refresh it. 11 severe warnings. We've got Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, and Wisconsin. What a surprise. I will link below. I'm not going to go through all of the counties. Comanche, Cotton, Tillman, Oklahoma, Sauk, Wisconsin, McDonald, Missouri, Cherokee, Delaware, Maize, Wagner, Oklahoma, Oh, well, I may as well do it. Craig, Nowata, Oklahoma, Cato, Comanche, Oklahoma, Lincoln, Oklahoma, Oklahoma. There's an Oklahoma, Oklahoma? Really? Okay. Muskogee and Okmulgee, Oklahoma, Hockley, and Lubbock, Texas. Lubbock. It's where they do a lot of the weather modification. Yeah, Texas. The Texas Weather Modification Association. It's there in plain sight for everybody to see. They modify the weather. Oh, God. It's, again, I'm seeing, oh, Arizona, the heat wave. I don't think Arizona, there is no heat wave. It's just a fucking hot state. But this is not hot for Arizonans. It is for me. It's the dryness, it's the, and it feels like there's a lack of oxygen in the air. Huh. Electromagnetic frequencies. Boy, our environment has really become a very dangerous place, no matter where you are in the world now, no matter where you are. So let's just do a wee bit of weather. Thousands of people urged to evacuate after huge wildfire in California. I include wildfires in my weather reports.
Across the country, at least 28,000 people have been urged to evacuate their home in Northern California. Firefighters there trying to put out a huge wildfire.
Yeah, it's a serious situation over there in California. Now, the Thompson fire near the city of Oroville sent up a huge plume of smoke so big that it could be seen from space. Flames have destroyed several homes so far, and at the same time, crews are also fighting more than a dozen other fires up and down the state this morning. So far, more than 3,500 acres have burned.
If you have
There are multiple wildfires that are burning in California, and we've got wildfires in Greece as well. Homes lost, 28,000 evacuated, mandatory evacuation, 28,000. Flood frustrations on McCook Lake in South Dakota.
In just a matter of minutes, the eastern side of McCook Lake in North Sioux City was underwater.
It was 8 minutes from the time that I was in my bedroom and heard my neighbors screaming because I was texting with a friend. It was 8 minutes from the time I was in my bedroom until the time I got onto high ground and called my son to say, I'm safe, I'm okay, I'm out of the water.
And it happened without warning.
I really didn't think this was going to be a big deal because nobody ever said, hey, McCook Lake, you need to leave.
It all started on Sunday, June 23rd, after days of unprecedented rain. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem held a press conference at 2 p.m. with the Union County Emergency Manager and other officials.
The Big Sioux River at Sioux City is projected to set a new record of 42.2 feet at 1 p.m. on Monday.
During the press conference, Noem called for a voluntary evacuation of Dakota Dunes, which is about 5 miles south of the McCook Lake area. A decades-old mitigation plan was also put into action.
6 p.m. this evening, we're expecting to close exit 4. We're going to be working on a levee project in that area, so we will be closing that area down later this evening.
That exit is just to the east of McCook Lake.
So what I would say to them is that, yes, they should be protecting their personal property on McCook Lake because we do anticipate that they will take in water. That's what we're preparing for.
But the devastation was quick.
As soon as they put the berm up, the water just started coming through the field over here, and you could just see it seeping, and then it just came up. And when the 5 minutes, looked out the front door, and it was a river of water already coming through.
The water came so fast that most people didn't have time to get out of their homes without walking out of them. They couldn't drive out of them because We didn't have any emergency notifications.
The lack of communication is what frustrated some McCook Lake residents the most. Officials with the city, county, and state say it all happened faster than they expected.
That impacted the evacuation process, absolutely. I know that Union County management did make efforts to get the messaging out, and locally we tried to get out by word of mouth as best as possible. I understand there's going to be frustrations, absolutely.
Union County Emergency Manager Jason Westcott says they sent out alerts as soon as officers noticed water in the McCook Lake area, but not all residents received that notification.
I checked my Amber Alerts, sir. All of that emergency notification is on, but I think maybe because we live in a tri-state area, we don't all have 605 area code cell phones. Most of us probably don't. So we didn't get any of those messages if they were sent out as they said.
No Amber Alert went off on my phone, no tornado sirens sounded, no megaphone from a official car, police car or something.
They hope that changes in the future.
This is awful that this all happened. We are all devastated. Our community is just ravaged by what has happened, by this huge, massive rain event that none of us could control. It's not any single person's fault that this happened. Communication could have absolutely been better. I know that they are going to work really super hard to make sure that communication does get better in the future.
For now, the fix.
For now, it's cleanup time, right? Yeah, well, trying to even get people to consider weather modification, it's just, yeah, whatever. More than 1 million people affected by floods in northeastern Bangladesh.
Dangerous flood levels in 13 districts in the Sylhet division in the northeast. Tens of thousands have been isolated by floodwaters. Thousands more have been evacuated to temporary shelters after continuous rain for nearly a month. Well, Tanvir Chowdhury is live for us in the city of Sylhet. Tanvir, I can see behind you that the water level is almost up to the roof of that building that's just over your shoulder there. Tell us more about the flood situation.
Yeah, it's very devastating. What we are in basically is a hinterland. It's 20 kilometers from the Sylhet city. Sylhet is a division which has incorporated a lot of districts in it, and many of those districts are inundated. It's about just 45 kilometers from the Indian border. Village after village, we came through this boat, have been inundated because all these bushes and trees you see enclaves inside their homes. So a lot of the villagers are stuck there. They're basically marooned. The government said about 700,000 people are affected this time. This is the second round of flood. There was flood in the beginning of June where 2 million people were affected. So this flood is very devastating. It's not just the monsoon rain. It's the water coming from the India's northeastern state of Assam and Meghalaya, which flow.
Okay. I think it's the rain coming from the weather terrorists. This is the second time for them since June, this kind of flooding. Second time. How about Romania?
Second 2024. In recent years in the municipality of Suceava and the surrounding towns, which occurred on Tuesday afternoon, around 3:30 p.m., led to the massive flooding of streets, yards, and several parking lots. Heavy hailfalls were recorded in several
A lot of countries are getting pummeled with hail. Not just Romania. Not just Romania. Look at this. Yeah. Okay. Well. Oh boy. I have a weather modification playlist on my Never Lose Truth channel. I have a climate change opposition playlist. I have a geoengineering playlist. It's exhausting. People. Everyone who just refuses to engage in conversation, they are so, and I'm not even going to say complicit, I'm going to say directly responsible for what is taking place. They sure did have an awful lot of time, and they blew it, man. FBI issues alert over attackers targeting holiday celebrations. Oh no. Citizens should proceed with caution. However, they should not panic. Mass shootings on the 4th of July have steadily increased over the past 3 years. 80 mass shootings that occurred over the past 3 years between July 1 and July 7 last year. In 2003, there were 28 mass shootings over the July 4th weekend, followed by 27 in 2022, 25 in 2021. Oh, they are increasing. So, JLR posted this video, and I think he read the same article as I did.
Shootings in the United States of America during 4th of July week, and it looks like another one happened today in Chicago, Grand Crossing neighborhood of Chicago. 2 women, 2 mothers died, 3 children are critically injured. I'm going to share a few clips here and show you what is going on in Chicago. Police gave a press conference.
And I will post the link. I don't think we go a day now without a mass shooting. Not in our country. Big blast at U.S. Arms Factory. What? Big blast at U.S. Arms Factory. General Dynamics. This was yesterday in Arkansas. They're warning you about mass shootings. Oh, you think we're at war? General Dynamics, their weaponry factory. Explosions, mass shootings, explosion at Arkansas. Weapon manufacturer leaves 2 people injured, 1 missing. It was in the morning. General Dynamics, a defense company that produces aircraft guns, missiles, and a variety of ammunition in South Arkansas. Oh boy, what an exciting country we have. All of this. Oh, they're investigating. They don't have any reason that they can offer the public. But they're investigating, okay? So, hold on. Hold your horses. They might come up with a reason. Oh, but then so much happens that within 2 days, you'll forget about this explosion. Here, the news is on it.
In faith, this is still an ongoing investigation, so details are very limited at this time, but a spokesperson for General Dynamics tells me the explosion happened around 8:15 this morning. Now, I did catch up with the Hampton mayor, who tells me this facility is one of the biggest in the area, and it employs a lot of people in his city.
You hear about it all the time, but you think about it, well, that happens somewhere else. It don't happen. It's just like the deal at Fordyce with the mayor butcher. You think that happens away from here. It don't happen around here, but it does.
Hampton Mayor Rick Sharon says his thoughts and prayers go out to everyone impacted by Wednesday's explosion.
That's what everybody needs to do, is just pray for the town and the people and the whole area. Remember, the family's affected by this out here, especially because, like I say, it has to be a bad deal.
Now, I did reach.
It's a bad deal. Mike Hitchcock, not Shannon, Sandra, Pilar Gill, Sandra. Special thank you to not Shannon, but Sandra Pilar Gill, who donated to you. Yes, thank you, Sandra, very much. Considering that this time is a time of great lacking in trust, I appreciate it, just seeing people being able to donate to people who are hurting. It's what we have to do. It is what we have to do. So, yeah, all right, explosions at General Dynamics. 3 generations caught in Peabody RV explosion. Grandfather, son, and grandson hospitalized. What's going on that we have so many trucks exploding? Semis, garbage trucks, RVs, and it seems as if it's like out of nowhere, and they're huge explosions.
Yeah, Courtney, when you see this damage, it's incredible that it wasn't worse. And we're just learning this family was getting ready for a big trip to the Grand Canyon when that RV blew up. An explosion literally rocking an entire neighborhood. This was the moment Ring doorbell camera captured the inferno ripping through the RV. A man runs out, rolling on the ground while smoldering. We've paused the video there because it's too graphic and difficult to watch.
It just like that.
Evan was right next door when he heard the loud noise and saw flames engulfing the RV.
Just a shock in my body, kind of like adrenaline, just another level of adrenaline like I never really felt before. I didn't freak out on the outside. I was more freaking out on the inside.
Down the street, John O'Donnell's house even shook.
We heard a big explosion, and I looked out the window, and then I just saw tons of smoke going up into the sky. You could see the flames over the house that's across the street from me, and I ran out, and I started running down the street, and I seen the RV on fire.
Neighbors say the victims are grandpa, son, and grandson who are all working on the RV before a big trip to the Grand Canyon.
It's a grandfather and grandkids, and the father lives there too also. They're very good people. They're friends of mine.
And the fire was so intense, the siding on one of the victims' homes melted. A mailbox left mangled from the heat. The fire chief saying, fortunately, the blaze was quickly contained.
It could have been worse, yeah. It could have been fatalities.
What's going on? Okay. This is parked. They were just working on it to go on a trip. Doesn't seem like there was any hookup to electricity. Why so hot? Why so unbelievably hot? And why the explosion of it? Now, if any of you are RV people, maybe you can explain it. But it looks a little suspicious. Okay, the border. Nick Shirley tweeted this out. I recently returned from the border and I took this photo of a paper from a Chinese migrant who has just crossed the border illegally. I put the paper in for translation. All right. People must know what is happening here in America. Well, they will only know if they have an interest. And that's the problem. Yeah, so. Now, if you were on the live and paying attention to Nick Shirley's video that I played last night, when that woman was talking about asking the migrants where they were going, and what they would say is camp. They're going to camp. And here, Moon Valley, O'Neill Camp, in Copa, Jacumba, California, exit 77. Camp 177, dirt road at the end of Jewel Valley Road. Marin Valley, all these destinations. So people are being given instructions. We don't know how long you will stay here. It may be a few hours or a few days. Food, water, and basic medical services will be provided once or twice a day. When you leave here, you may be taken to the local processing facility. We don't know how long you need to deal with it from the facility. Be sure to wear warm clothes during detention. I guess they have a lot of air conditioning. Be sure to turn off your mobile phone before leaving the camp. Haha, really? You don't want to be tracked. If you travel with your family, you need to tell Border Patrol, okay, to reduce the chances of getting separated. If you live in the San Diego area, you can tell your guarantor at any time and arrange transportation to your new home. So all of this is giving guidance to our illegal migrants who are coming across the border in California. Oh, boy. If you travel outside the San Diego area, the free shuttle will take you to the Old Town Transportation Center, where you can find the free shuttle to the airport and the railway station and bus station. Oh, you need to pay for the hotel, catering, and transportation by yourself. Really? Where? Who's giving them the money? Unbelievable. All right. There's more. So what I'm going to do is link to Nick's tweet. Yeah, well, we do have an invasion going on. It is very, very obvious. It is very, very clear. And July 4th, hey, I don't want to hear anything. I just want to drink my beer and eat my hot dog. I will link below to Mike Adams' interview with... Oh, excellent connection. Wow. With J.J. Carroll. And I don't care what you think of Mike, what you think of J. Carroll. The information is what is important. The information. And J. Carroll is highly qualified to speak on this issue that we have, the invasion, the treason going on by all of those fabulous politicians representing Americans. Yay, July 4th. Oh, I love my politicians.
But then I became a senior leader within San Diego sector. So I have a very unique perspective of what's transpiring from Mayorkas, from Biden and his cabinet down to Mayorkas and pushed down. And this is intentional, strategic, and purposeful. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, you use those terms. I think our audience agrees with you. Alejandro Mayorkas, who I would call a treasonous actor, is actually, he's been visiting the invasion camps in Panama and providing illicit funding for the expansion of these camps, which I would characterize as staging areas for the ongoing invasion of America. Would you agree with that assessment, or do you disagree, or do you have something to add to it?
No, I think you're spot on, and that's what people don't want to talk about. They want to, look, Michael Yon's an investigative journalist. He's down in, this is April 2022, he's down in the Darien Gap, and in the middle of the jungle, all of a sudden Black Hawk helicopters start flying in, and there is the Secretary of DHS, Alejandro Mayorkas, in the jungles of Panama. What in the hell is the Secretary of DHS doing in Panama in the jungle? Well, yes. He started to create these way stations, these rest areas that make it more efficient for illegal aliens to come through the Darien Gap in Central America into America. That's treason. He even said this. This is not conjecture or we're hearing about it. He actually was on ABC this week about 10 days ago on a Sunday show, and he just said it out loud. Yeah, I'm responsible for those. Wait a minute, Alejandro Mayorkas, you are actually processing people out of those regional processing centers as well and flying them into America in the dark of night off the books.
True.
People have no idea the enormity of this treason that is happening in America right now, but at the hands of our own people.
So
we're funding it.
Brings up the critical question, and I love the fact that you saw this firsthand, right? This is not just hearsay, you quoting some other person. You've seen it firsthand.
No.
But
yes.
You must have reached some conclusions about the purpose of this. And it's got to be more than just putting them here because they might vote Democrat. What do you think the real purpose is?
I think this is a global reset. And I know people, they pull back right away. Oh, God, conspiracy. No, this is not conspiracy. This already happened in Europe. Western Europe is dying. They just they're having a referendum on it, and they're bringing in all nationalist politicians because they have been destroyed by the illegal immigration invasion in their country. We're seeing it now because the only way to fundamentally transform not only America, but the global reset is you have to take down the giant. You have to take down America. If you don't take down America, who cares if Sweden falls? Really, honestly, in the economic scale, no one cares. But America falls, you change the whole dynamic of the world. And that's what they're doing. If you take off...
Just want to say, I care. I care. And Sweden has fallen. Sweden is facing a whole lot of crime. Sweden was one of, or perhaps even the safest country in the world. Sweden. Not anymore. Not anymore. So, I care. But, hey. In terms of the reset, yeah, you got to take down the evil giant.
Your lens, your glasses of America, apple pie, July 4th, we're all patriots, and you put on I hate America Marxist glasses, then everything Mayorkas and the left does makes complete sense. We're trying to understand irrational behavior. This is, I hate America. Everything America's gained is ill-gotten gains from slavery and oppression, and we need to give it back. And the way that we're going to do it is we're going to destroy the citizenry, and we're going to bring in as many non-citizens as we can because we can control them. That is the big picture. I know it's hard for people to wrap their brain around that your own government hates you. They hate you. Look at what they've done. Look at what they're doing now. 30 million people will cross into the border into America under Joe Biden, 30 million. And I'm being conservative on there. We're 45 to 50 million illegal aliens in America right now. 1 in 6 people residing in the United States of America is an illegal alien. Just let that sit and marinate in that for a few minutes.
Huge numbers. And some of this, of course, a lot of this was going on under Barack Obama as well. And,
yes.
And you were in Border Patrol.
And Trump. Republicans, Democrats, neither one. This has been an issue for decades and decades and decades. Americans, can't you get it? No, we don't need the Democrats and the Republicans to come together and finally come up with some bipartisan bill that's going to save the day. They've been talking about this for decades. What they need to do is enforce immigration law. They don't need to do anything. Just enforce the law. Americans, don't you get it? Can you not get it? It's that simple. But they don't do it. Why don't they do it? Because we've got treason going on, and we've got an invasion happening. 30 million? Yeah, I mean, our greatest enemy, and I've said this for 13 years, is our fellow Americans. The evil, yeah, they're our enemy, of course. But we can't reach them, and evil, there's nothing you can do to cure it. Your hope is that you could reach your fellow Americans so that they can actually unite and protect their own skin, because their skin is in the game. But nothing. Nothing. Whew. Yeah, expecting corrupt people to do the right thing. You can't. But unfortunately, a lot of Americans are so morally corrupted, they can't do the right thing. In fact, I would even venture to say that most Americans don't even know the difference between right and wrong. That's sad. All right, so the link is in the chat again. And I've been pretty good at least 3 times posting the links after the live posts. So, yeah, here, New Zealand tourist robbed and killed outside Newport Beach Mall. Yay, come on down, come across the pond, visit us, come on up from Australia and New Zealand, come visit us. We're so safe here, you're going to have a fabulous time.
Well, new developments tonight in the deadly robbery and murder at Fashion Island Mall in Newport Beach. Now, these are the victims. KCAL News has learned they are 68-year-old Patricia McKay and her husband Doug, a prominent banker in New Zealand. The alleged thieves targeted the couple and then dragged McKay into the street, running over her with their car.
I wasn't really thinking about myself. I felt so terrible for that woman and that person at that point, and I have no clue who they are, but it just wasn't right.
And new tonight at 9, we're hearing firsthand from a man who says he tried to stop the 3 men as they allegedly robbed that woman. He says he was even shot during the struggle.
Well, KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers joins us now from the desk to give us some more information about this story. Mike?
Yeah, Pat and Juan, I got to tell you, this guy has quite the story. He saw something and tried to jump in and help. I want to show you that photo one more time here. This is Trish McKay and her husband Doug McKay. This is a photo taken back in November at a family event. I spoke with tonight a representative from Bank of New Zealand. That's where Doug previously had been a chairman of the board, as we just mentioned. Very well loved over there in New Zealand. This is a big loss for their community. And again, as we've told you, this all happened in Newport Beach yesterday. Now, the Good Samaritan we spoke to said he was eating sushi at a restaurant there, stepped outside, and that's when he heard someone say, "She's getting robbed, she's getting robbed." He says he ran towards the woman to try to help. That's when he says he saw the suspects run her over with the car the first time. It was after that that he ran up to try to get one of the suspects. Listen to what he told us.
I clotheslined him and took him out. And then I had to stop, and as I turn around, he's getting up, and we both start running because he's running for the car and I'm running after him. And then the car started moving again, and I thought, oh great, they're leaving him. And I had just gotten a hold of the guy, and I was ready to, I had purchased, I was ready to take him down. I was very happy about this, and that's when I heard the first shot zip past both of our heads, and he ducked out of the way, and as soon as he ducked out of the way, I then saw the car had stopped, and there was a guy with the passenger door kicked open, and he was out it, and I saw down the barrel of the gun. I was like, oh, he's shooting at me.
Yeah, he says that's when that third suspect ran back to the car, got in, and they all took off. Those 3 suspects, as we then reported, were later caught up in this pursuit. All 3 of them eventually taken into custody. Now, that Good Samaritan Bo there tells us that Doug, the woman's husband, sat there and unfortunately had to watch the entire thing. He says after the woman was hit the first time, Doug began screaming, "She's already down, already down." He believes that the suspects panicked. That's when the driver, he says, hit the gas and hit her for a second time before that interaction that he described happened.
Yeah. How about a BART rider in San Francisco subway, pushed to death? And yeah, this could easily be prevented. And I'm going to show you how easily it can be prevented. But it's not. Why not? Because they don't care about the riders. And what J.J. Carroll said about they hate us. They have pure, unadulterated contempt for us. Government officials hate us. Why can't Americans see this? Okay.
Shoving a woman on a BART platform and killing her is in jail tonight. KTVU's Christian Captain joins us from the Powell Street BART station in San Francisco this evening with the latest on this very disturbing case here. Christian.
Yeah, disturbing is one word for it. Mike Bart, police tell me that cases like this are very, very rare, but passengers we spoke with said the idea of such a frightening attack is hard to shake. BART police are investigating a deadly incident Monday night at the Powell Street BART station.
This was a tragedy that happened last night, and something that...
And it could be prevented. Seoul, South Korea, metro. Look at, and a lot of Asian countries have this. They have partitions. You can't push anybody onto the tracks because there are partitions. And when the subway comes in, it stops, and it stops right at doors that open. And then the subway doors open. And look at how clean these places are. That's the partition. Nobody can get pushed onto the tracks. There. Subway door opens, partition door opens. Completely safe. No problem. Oh, and look how clean their subways are. Ah. I don't seem to have a whole lot of mentally ill people in Seoul on their subways, or homeless on their subways. People fighting on their subways. No. It's really, when you look at how clean it is, you gotta wonder, how could Americans think they're exceptional? What? There are Americans that think like this country is the greatest. Still, they exist. How is that possible? How is it even possible? It can only be possible for a people who have no respect for themselves, have become so completely and utterly demoralized and traumatized by being whipped by their narcissistic, psychopathic rulers. Wow. And I will post the link to this if you want to check it out. Play just a few minutes.
So you could get to the E-Mart and the movie theater over to the left. I wanted to do a video of the metro while I was here, so this just might be that. I'm not sure if I'll get to doing another one. And I used to live not too far from here, and I just wrapped up finishing a video where I walked through my old neighborhood. So you could get to the E-Mart and the movie theater over to the left. And they have a washroom facility here, as they do at most train stations in Korea. Take notes, Toronto.
Such a drag. Here's another video with this woman. New York City subway is the best in the world.
New York City has the best subway system in the world. Here's why. You never know how long your ride might be. It could be 20 minutes or 2 hours because of the train not stopping or train traffic. How is there train traffic? It's a one-way rail. Just go straight. Fare increases always go back to the rider for a better experience. I can totally read this sign. And if it's your lucky day, you may find a car that's completely empty. What could go wrong? It's super easy to understand. For example, if you want to go to Coney Island, you can take the Orange Line, which has the D, the F, or the B. But the B doesn't go to Coney Island, and the D is partially suspended, and the F sometimes stops at Kings Highway, and the B doesn't run on weekends. And keep in mind all these current changes. You'll never get lost. New Yorkers love supporting the MTA, and we always pay our fair share. Bing bang! And to all these other cities, why don't you step it up and get on our level? Do you know
Yeah, get on our level. So there was this video also. How is the experience of riding a subway in America versus China? I will post the link. And it's quite different, as this man has experienced. Very different.
I've been in major stations here in New York City. Like this is Penn Station. And last night we were at Times Square and we saw some police officers in these stations. So I wonder if this is something new. I'm not sure. Because as I said, safety was one of the issues, or is one of the issues when you're using the subway system here in New York. Actually, most of the city, depending on the time, you need to be aware because it might be a little bit like unsafe. However, it got my attention that I've seen some police officers in this station. So my people or my subscribers here in New York, how does it work? It's like all the time it's like that? Or is it something new? Or it's like they're trying to implement like a safety thing around here? Or how does it work? Let me know because I'm really, really curious about this.
This is China.
China's first subway system was launched in 1971 in Beijing and was named as Line 1, but it was snail's pace growth. Nevertheless, the booming Chinese economy following its opening up in the 1980s.
Okay, so I'm going to post the link again. It's an interesting video. And dude, no one here is censoring any comments, so... And you write a lot of comments that are quite apparent, so I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. Trump expands lead over Biden as age worries grow. Oh, that's right, a 6-point lead. Yay, Trump, yay! 80% saying the incumbent is too old to run, but I guess Trump, it's fine for Trump, right? Yeah. Well, I will say this. More and more people are calling for Biden to step down, step out of the race, but he came out and said strongly, I am running, I am in it to win it.
This morning, President Biden is not backing down, telling his staff, let me say this as clearly as I possibly can, as simply and straightforward as I can. I am running. In a new radio interview, the president again acknowledging his brutal debate performance.
I had a bad night. And the fact of the matter is that, I screwed up. I made a mistake. That's 90 minutes on stage. Look at what I've done in 3.5 years.
But NBC News has learned that privately, President Biden is torn. In some discussions, he's acknowledged that the debate aftermath may grow too large to overcome, while in others, he has been completely dismissive of the idea of dropping out of the campaign, according to 4 people familiar with the matter. The president weighing his instinct and the advice of his family to stay in against calls to step out. He can see that there is potentially no real path, a source told NBC, but he's being pushed. Still, publicly, the White House staying the course.
He's moving forward with his campaign. He is staying in the race. I just stated that the president is not dropping out.
Overnight, the president and vice president meeting with Democratic governors at the White House.
We pledged our support to him because the stakes could not be higher.
That came after a day of reaching out to top congressional leaders. A second House Democrat, Arizona's Raul Grijalva, calling on President Biden to drop out, and another Democratic Congressman, Seth Moulton, saying all viable options should be on the table. At his only public event Wednesday, a Medal of Honor ceremony, the president ignoring reporters' questions.
Mr. President! Mr. President!
A New York Times Siena College poll done after the debate suggests that President Biden now trails former President Trump by 6 points among likely voters, though that's within the margin of error. Former President Trump, in a video shared on his social media site, falsely claims President Biden quit the campaign and attacks Vice President Kamala Harris with profanity.
He just quit, you know, he's quitting the race.
Is that right?
Yep, I got him out of the race. And that means we have Kamala. I think she's going to be better. She's so bad. She's so pathetic.
It's so amazing.
It's just so bad.
And I'm sure a lot of Trump supporters were like, yeah, listen to him. Look, listen to him. He's saying the word fuck. Fucking bad. Kamala Harris. Well, she is. But is that any kind of integrity or dignity to show the American people, especially the children? No, of course not. Because the man is a disgusting, narcissistic, psychopathic, crazy person. But do vote for the lesser of two evils. The NASDAQ close at fresh records as investors look past soft economic data. Well, the stock market is not a reflection of the economy at all, but a whole lot of people with the artificial monies being dumped in to the stock market are making a fortune. The Fed printing money, all of it is so obvious. It is so obvious. Americans are everywhere and taking their strong dollars with them. The U.S. currency has surged thanks to higher interest rates and a strong economy. Whew. Lie after lie after lie after lie. Cryptocurrency investors more likely to self-report dark tetrad personality traits alongside other characteristics. You invest in cryptocurrency, you're psychopathic. You're a conspiracy theorist. Now, that's not anything I would invest in, but I've been thrown out of the life's game because all of this is just going to come tumbling down. But really, cryptocurrency investors have dark personality traits? Crypto ownership was also associated with being male and high income, consuming fringe media, and reporting feelings of victimhood. Oh boy. Well, any mainstream media outfit would of course say it's fringe. But most Americans are off, or don't trust, I can't say they're off listening to the news, but it's a very small percentage of Americans that actually trust mainstream media. Mainstream media is dying a very sad death. No, it's not sad. They brought it upon themselves. So what's fringe media? Anything outside mainstream media. Any publication that is not going with the official narrative. They have various political, psychological, and social characteristics differentiating crypto investors from those who abstain psychologically non-normative, and politically non-mainstream. Oh my God, that makes them so dark. Crypto ownership is associated with belief in conspiracy theories, support of political extremism, identification with non-left, right political orientations, Christian nationalism, and the dark tetrad of personality traits, narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and sadism. Oh my God! Stay away from those crypto investors. Yeah, stay far away. We're such a stupid people, man, that we allow this crap. How thousands of Americans got caught in fintech's false promise and lost access to bank accounts. Fintech promised the best of both worlds, the innovation, ease of use, and fun of the newest apps, combined with the safety of government-backed accounts held at real banks. The collapse of middleman synapse has revealed fintech's promise of safety as a mirage. More than 100,000 Americans with 265 million in deposits have been locked out of their accounts, and some for weeks. Yeah, the implications of this disaster may be far-reaching. The most popular banking apps in the country include Block's Cash App, PayPal, and Chime. Partner with banks instead of owning them. So, if they don't own the bank, FDIC is not covering any of those banks. You ain't got any insurance. FDIC, a whole lot of people will find out when the banks collapse, there's not much money in the FDIC's account. But I digress.
Sticking with the banking space. For millions of customers, the rise in fintech offers the best of both worlds. Innovative banking and cutting-edge tech combined with the safety of government backing. Think names like Cash App, SoFi, PayPal, and Stripe. But the reality for some of those customers appears to be anything but safe and secure. CNBC.com banking reporter Hugh Sun joins me now with more. He has a new story out looking at how thousands of Americans, they got caught in fintech's false promise. Hugh, good morning. Great to have you here. Give us a sense. What is this story about? How many people impacted?
Yeah, hey Frank, it's great to be with you. And it's really important to talk about this story because the mainstream press hasn't really covered it up until recently. Effectively 100,000 Americans who've been customers of fintech apps with names like Yada, Juno, and Copper, have been locked out of their main banking accounts for 2 months, really since early May. And that's because of, and we don't have to get too deep into this, but there's a financial sort of middleman called Synapse that basically blew up. It went into bankruptcy in early May, in April-May timeframe, and as a result, they shut down some of the systems that connected a lot of these fintech apps with the partner banks that actually help them offer things like checking accounts and debit cards. And as a result, you've just had people really suffering for the past 2 months, suffering mostly in silence because they haven't been able to do things like pay their bills, pay their mortgages, and they've been forced to borrow money from friends and family to essentially live. For me, the implications of this collapse are pretty far-reaching because what it says about the fintech model. And the fintech model is, we are not a bank, but we partner with banks. And so even though that, these fintech apps that have been, seized up are relatively lower tier in terms of their name recognition, the essential model is really followed by folks like Chime, even PayPal and Cash App. They are not banks, but they partner with banks. And so the potential implications of this are pretty large. I wanted to get an understanding for what was going on with these people, the customers that have been suffering, and I reached out to a lot of them. And they come from all different walks of life. Some of them are business owners with almost $250K frozen. Some of them, just have a few $1,000s frozen. But the commonality is, they all thought that the FDIC backing was going to give them protections. and it's proven to be anything but the case.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from this report? Looking at gold.
So, a whole lot of people have not been able to access their accounts, access the monies. It's very sad. Yeah. Patelco Credit Union gives update after 500,000 customers locked out of accounts and unable to make rent and mortgage payments, still being locked out of their accounts after 2 days. No set time frame for when it will be resolved. Customers have complained about not being able to access their funds or get into their bank accounts. Our teams are still working to resolve the outage. And we'll answer your questions as best we can, but we cannot provide specific information on your accounts this time. This is happening to a lot of people. I'll post the video here. Is Economic Ninja reporting on this. 85,000 bank accounts have just been locked down. Arizonans can't access my own money. Locked out of accounts after Synapse bankruptcy, paying for rent, mortgage, groceries, gas, fun. Life is expensive, but what happens to a person's life if they lose access to their money? Right now, that's the reality many Americans are facing. Bank accounts of thousands of customers, consumers, and businesses have been locked for weeks. At the center of the crisis is a dispute between fintech startup Synapse and its banking partners. Synapse serves as a middleman between customer-facing financial technology or fintech brands and FDIC-backed banks. Synapse filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in April, shut down its services to some of its fintech partners, including Yoda. Yoda is an online application that gives users the chance to win prizes for saving money. Since Synapse shut down, Yoda has been unable to process transactions. It's not just Yoda. Carl writes in an email, I was supposed to get my paycheck last week, and I haven't gotten it yet. I also can't access my own money or withdraw it. I'm struggling right now financially because of this. Yeah, okay. Well, okay. Diversify, right? Don't have all your eggs in one basket. Take out money. Leave just enough to pay your bills. But in this instance, good luck paying your bills. Yeah, get it out of these fintech startups and put it in just a regular bank. Credit unions, though credit unions they're not immune to this economic crisis that we are facing. It might be just a little safer than commercial banks, but we'll see. Are seniors devastated by big corporations' inflated lot fees? Big Super Living in Arizona. I will post the link. I've recommended checking out this man's channel. And yeah, I mean, no matter how much information we're putting out there, especially as it relates to the elderly, nothing seems to come of it.
And now these big companies are buying up the mobile home parks and raising the lot rents.
Yeah, the other people they bought it in 2000. This for $12 million, and then they sold it 2 years ago for $89.
Wow.
So they made some money.
Jeez.
It's a cash cow, man. Everybody, you're getting the rent. They're jacking the rents up. That's the problem.
Which is making it a challenge for folks to find affordable housing. This is the last place for affordable housing.
And these are seniors. You want to look at what they're doing here?
Yeah, show me around.
Okay, so again, the link is in the chat. This is so heart-wrenching. Yeah. All right. Now, what is this? Rapping for Jesus. I still can't believe this is actually real. Rapping for Jesus. Listen to what this guy claims Jesus is to him and her.
Well, I wrote this song for the Christian youth. I want to teach kids the Christian truth. If you want to reach those kids on the street, then you gotta do a rap to a hip-hop beat. So I gave my sermon an urban kick. My rhymes are fly, my beats are sick. My crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's 'cause Jesus Christ is my nigga. Woo! He's a life changer, miracle arranger, born to the virgin mom in a manger. Water to wine, he's a drink exchanger, and he died for your sins. I preach the word, that's my gig, and I rhyme better than Notorious Big. All the other MCs, I wish them well, but if you live in sin, you burn in hell. Now I'ma pass the mic to my lovely wife. She's a fly MC and the light of my life. So to bust a rhyme without further ado, take it away, Mary Sue.
Jesus Christ is my nigga. He's the son of the original G. And he was sent to earth to elucidate the way that we should be. What? Like if another MC says you're a freak, you're a lame butt rapper and your rhymes are weak. I don't get mad and I don't critique. I forgive him and turn the other cheek. I don't blaspheme and I don't brag. I don't cuss and my pants don't sag. I do exude a little Christian swag and I'm proud to be an American.
Jesus Christ is a nigga. Let his light shine through ya. Let his love pop a cap in your butt and say hallelujah. Jesus Christ is a nigga. He's a homie MC, JC, you see. He's an honest, caring, peace-loving nigga like me. If you do drugs and you think you're cool, you need to come to Sunday school. Put those drugs in a garbage can. Stand up tall, you're a Christian man. Word up. I'm freestyling.
Hit me.
I don't know what to say. But unfortunately, there's an awful lot of Christians who just, they make a farce. It's a farce. Ugh. Wow. And yes, of course, Oklahoma. Biblical push in schools poses major test for separation of church and state. Oklahoma joined Louisiana last week in insisting that biblical teachings have a place in the classroom, alarming civil liberties group, and okay, well, sorry, I think a lot of Christians are, yay, good, July 4th, give me my beer, give me my hot dog, and yay, they're putting biblical teachings back in public school. We're not all Christian. Many parents are very, very upset. Will this fly constitutionally? It shouldn't. But who knows? Because this country has gone rogue. Now, cops let DUI suspect judge drive away with a warning. Oh, these people who get away with so much that the ordinary American would never get away with. Never. Never. Oh, but she's a judge. She's powerful. We're going to let her get away with it. Oh.
A prominent judge was pulled over on suspicion of DUI.
Have you had anything to drink tonight?
No.
You sure? Because it smells either you've drowned yourself in perfume or...
She asked for special treatment from the police.
I'm a judge, and it's...
You're a judge?
Best thing about a lot of these behind-the-scenes things that I don't think we realized went on before we became judge. I mean, I could lose my entire career.
You're right, Your Honor.
You don't believe.
And here's the thing, Your Honor. I could lose my entire career if I let you use the position that you being a judge...
I'm not using a position.
To do this.
And they did give her special treatment.
But if I do this test and you don't think I do well, I lose my career. Yeah. I mean, can you I'd like a witness. Can we call Ben Katrib? I'll call Sidney Miller, Sheriff Gonzalez. I mean, this is a huge deal for me.
Even though they believed that she had been drinking and they watched her driving on the wrong side of the road, she was let go with just a warning.
So I'm going to write you a warning citation for the speeding, 77 NA 65, and let it go at that. Fair enough? All right.
The cops covered up their body cams so that no video was saved, just the audio. Then she disappeared, which in and of itself made national news that this judge, who had handled several recent high-profile trials, had mysteriously disappeared.
Because our society, it's based on laws.
Oh, people, man. I'm different. I'm special. Let me go. Okay, you're special. Michigan is building the nation's first smart highway. Several of what I've shown tonight comes from Mama Rages, who's in Michigan, America's first smart highway. Alphabet-backed startup Cavnu has started constructing the smart highway as part of a new pilot project that could spur other construction projects across the country. Another project, a smart freight corridor on State Highway 130 by Austin, Texas, is also being developed. New Smart Road is big, long tracking system from Michigan's Department of Transportation and for drivers on the highway. The Smart Highway is designed to inform both the Michigan Department of Transportation and drivers about potential issues ahead, such as obstacles in the road, accidents, or traffic jams. Yeah, that's it. It's just to inform the drivers of, oh, there's lots of traffic up ahead, or there's obstacles in the road. Don't worry. They're not picking up any information about you and how you are driving and, that license plate. No, don't worry. You're paranoid if you think that. It's hoped that the project will help relieve traffic congestion, prevent accidents, and help authorities provide efficient responses to roadway emergencies. Now, if you have driven the interstate in many states, you know that they have, those electronic machines that actually alert drivers to traffic jams or any accidents up ahead. But no, they need a smart road filled with a lot of sensors. Located between Ann Arbor and Detroit, Michigan, there are future plans to extend the Smart Highway to 40 miles and 6 more phases that would connect to both cities once the pilot program is complete. Smart Highway works with a series of poles placed every 200 meters, 655 feet, along the road that hold sensor pods, compute pods, and communication equipment. There are also cameras along the highway that monitor every stretch of roadway and take images that are analyzed by artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms to identify hazardous driving conditions. Not to identify how you are driving. Don't get that confused. Cavnew says its technology can connect with any vehicle that has connectivity features. Spokesperson said most modern cars with built-in navigation features fit into this category. A vintage old-timer would not. Good. America has some catching up to do when it comes to building and implementing smart highways. Great Britain, for instance, started working on its first internet-connected road in 2014. Smart is really dumb. Okay. I'm going to play this. This, too, I believe was sent by Mama Rages. But it's very, very important.
Welcome back. So Dr. Ariana Love is back with us again with a horrific discovery. She says that she has a patent proof that COVID PCR tests are actually not tests at all, but that they're linked with human cloning technology. They're not science fiction, are they?
It's real. The PCR kits have never.
You know what? I'm going to post the link. Remember, this is YouTube. We've got to be pure on YouTube. Right? Right. But I am going to play this. So, this doctor's testimony made my blood run cold. It's also about the PCR test. No, the PCR test was not to see if you had COVID.
So, you were talking this morning about the tests, which I was always suspicious of. I could never understand why they had these great long things that had to be sucked right up your nose to do a test when you had to wear a mask because any little bit of spit coming out was supposed to give everybody the COVID. And so why couldn't they just get a little thing on the end of your tongue like that?
Yes.
I could never understand that. It went against my intuition, so I've never had any of those at all.
Yes.
But you were saying this morning something really interesting about what might be kind of behind it.
So I think a lot of people have heard at this stage about that there was cycle threshold. So to do with how many times the test gets repeated, you can make any test come up positive. So this is separate to that. This is just talking about where that swab went. And so if we take a slice down, like literally it's called a sagittal plane, all the way down the middle, and the anatomy of the nose as such is that there's something called turbinates, and literally the biggest one is about that long going back from here. So horizontally you have this anatomy that goes along here, along here, along here. And it's actually quite deep and fascinating, the structure of the nose. At the top of the nose, you actually have something that's called the cribriform plate. Now, this is a very, very thin piece of bone, and it's perforated, so it has little holes in it on top of that. But the bone itself even is so thin that in anatomy departments or places where there's skulls, it's very often broken because it's literally side of paper thin. So there were two ways those swabs were being done. And let's bear in mind that a lot of people who were taking the swabs, including at test centres, were completely untrained. Other people had had a small amount of training. So if they were going according to the training, then they were doing it horizontally which at that part of the anatomy, if you go far enough back there, you're actually getting very close to the most magnetic part of the brain. If they were going up more vertically, which is what most of them were doing, then they're getting up to this cribriform plate, which is where you are crossing the blood-brain barrier. Because that's actually where the nerves come down that are to do with the sense of smell. So all those holes are meant for the penetration of the nerves that lead directly back into the brain. So there is no medical reason whatsoever why you would ever need to shove a swab up there or there. Either of those, the only thing behind that could be harm. You can't just there's no special kind of secretion thing right up there where it's like, oh yes, that's where the great mucus production from the top of the brain comes down. No, that's where you've got direct contact between the outside world and your brain. And of course, there were horror stories where people had actually had brain come out. That was the worst case scenario. But even without that, these swabs, and they weren't like, people often kind of went, oh, cotton swabs. No, they weren't cotton swabs. These were sharp, hollow fiber swabs. So the whole thing was made up of, if you could imagine, like spiky hedgehog coming out, but every one of those tubes was actually hollow. And looking under a microscope, even just at a basic magnification, you could see they were hollow, and you could see that they were blunt-ended, and stuff was coming out of some of them, which we think was probably hydrogel. So, yes,
so
nothing good to be said about them.
Yeah, so the motive behind them, what would you say the motive was?
I cannot, having also, as well as doing anatomy, I have also done ear, nose and throat. Surgery is a job, and I cannot see any justification other than harm.
Right. Okay, and you are...
Well, now listen to this woman, this doctor. And that may very well be the reason. Cloning. Oh boy, what a world we're living in.
Obviously a qualified doctor that's got many years in the NHS, did I hear?
Yeah, so a couple of decades, but I am retired now. I don't do any form of medical practice, NHS, private or anything else.
Right, okay, and that's confirmed my intuition and
Good
a lot of other
intuition.
people's intuition
Yeah.
So,
Steer clear of them, just in case they get rolled out again for some other suspicious reason.
Brilliant.
Because Carrie Mullis isn't here anymore, unfortunately, to tell us about what nonsense the cycle threshold is. So,
And Carrie Mullis was the inventor of the PCR test. This civilization is deeply unnatural. I like Caitlin Johnstone. I like what she writes. She writes profound articles. Profundity oozing. Important to listen to.
Deeply unnatural. There is nothing natural about this. The way things are. The way we are living. If this was the natural and healthy way for human society to exist, it wouldn't require mountains of propaganda spin to keep it going. Without copious amounts of mental narratives being fed to us by people in power, it would never occur to anyone that it's a good or normal idea to commit to wars of aggression on the other side of the planet, or to back genocides, or to militarize globally with hundreds of military outposts around the world, or to foster systems which allow a few people to have far too much while others have far too little, or to destroy the biosphere we depend on for survival for the sake of shareholder profits. It would never occur to us to accept these things if we weren't living our lives saturated in a nonstop barrage of narratives explaining that we should accept them. We live like this throughout our entire lives. Through mass-scale psychological manipulation, our minds are twisted into freakish and unnatural shapes to ensure that we will think, speak, act, work, spend, and vote in ways we never otherwise would, all to keep the wheels of this freakish and unnatural dystopia turning. If the powerful did not control the dominant narratives of this civilization, we would be living in a very different world than the one we live in today. Narrative is how humans tend to get themselves into trouble.
And I'm going to post the link and you can listen to the remaining 5 minutes. Just wish we could pull people out of the matrix. I have no friends. People are afraid of me. I'm not black enough and I don't care. I was laid off as a data engineer, 3-month update. I'm tired of pretending I'm going off grid. I got fired for going to my brother's funeral. Why did Kinko Bioworks avoid announcing a mass layoff in the first place? I have more to speak, but I'm not going there tonight. It's 6:34, but I will post the links. I'll keep open these. Mark Passio, The Real 7 Deadly Sins. Very good. Gets you to think, if you dare to listen. Also, Mark Passio, Two Masks, Same Face, The Dark Occult Origins of Nazism and Communism. And if you dare to listen and learn, the video itself is about 8 hours. And you can watch it piecemeal, but telling the truth and making someone cry is better than telling a lie and making someone smile. Oh, you told the truth and someone cried. You're just a horrible human being. You're not nice. But you lie and make somebody smile. Oh God, I love her. She's so wonderful. We got to get real and we have to grow up, for sure. And I'm also going to post the interview with Mike Adams and Mark Passio. And Larkin Rose, Trump sucks. You know, I'm going to play some of this. There's a whole lot of people that just don't want to see clearly what we've got going here in our country. And when you don't want to see clearly who people really are, then you're a danger. You are a danger to everyone.
Narcissistic. Just delusionally. Hi, Larkin Rose here. Yes, the video of this title, absolutely clickbait. And you could say that this video is a test of sorts. So let's see how you do. Donald Trump is kind of a crappy human being. He's ridiculously narcissistic. Just delusionally self-absorbed and arrogant in every way. He's also a habitual liar. He rips people off right and left. He lies all over the place. He cons people. Everything he does is for his own glory or his own wealth. He's just an arrogant, slimy piece of crap. Now, if I had said all of that 10 years ago, none of you would have been feeling defensive and mad, but I bet a bunch of you were after I said that. Why? What's the difference? Well, 10 years ago, Donald Trump was just this rich guy from New York. Most people didn't know much of anything about him. I didn't know much of anything about him. But if I say he's a slimeball, you might go, oh yeah, I've heard things about him. I think he's an arrogant slimeball. Or you might have said, well, I don't really know anything about him, but whatever. Maybe you knew about him, go, I don't know, maybe he's a good businessman or something. But I bet you wouldn't have gotten all indignant and defensive at me pointing out that he's a crappy human. He doesn't hide it. He's a shit human being and doesn't hide it. Now, why is it that when I say that now, a bunch of people get defensive? Because they suck at being objective, and they don't understand a game that's being played on them. A whole lot of people, if I point out that Trump sucks, will, instead of defending Trump and saying he doesn't suck, because he obviously does and everybody knows it, will suddenly change the topic to how much they don't like some other guy, namely Joe Biden, or a whole bunch of other people. The libs and blah, blah, blah. Now, what does that say about you? That a criticism of a certain individual, a perfectly valid criticism of an individual, instead of making you respond to that, agree, disagree, whatever, instead of making you even talk about those accusations that he's a slimeball, makes you jump over to talking about somebody else, somebody completely unrelated. That game is called politics, that makes people stupid enough and gullible enough to do that. To vehemently and angrily defend somebody you know is a slimeball. That's a pretty clever trick, if you ask me. How did somebody manage to arrange it so that when somebody calls a slimeball, you get defensive and angry and then you want to talk about somebody else? Where did that come?
Why do people defend people when there's really, they don't deserve to be defended? Why do people do that? I'll never understand that. Never understand it. I see it a whole lot in the cyber world. And it is really, you just keep people, when you defend other people because you like them but they've done wrong, you keep them walking the low road. You do them a disservice. So I will post the link if you want to listen to the full video. Yeah. We have a very sick country, filled with people who are sick. And, until we face the fact that we've got a sickness, we've got, a sickness of the mind, we won't get anywhere. So, First Lady talks to Biden like he's a 3-year-old. That's another thing. Wow, man. You see these videos of Biden and Jill Biden, but this is horrifying. She does talk to him like he's a 3-year-old. And Americans aren't, they don't see this as real cringe.
I think the real villain here is Joe Biden's family, specifically his wife. I think she's showing how evil and how empty she is, and how personally selfish she is, because she's been seeing Joe Biden fall down on his face verbally and physically for at least the last 4 years. So again, everybody knew Joe Biden was demented in 2020. We've been calling him a walking demented death rattle since 2020, and we've been, of course, proven right. And so she sees it even more than we see it. And here she is after the debate, talking to him like he's 3 years old. If she thought this was going to help, that's how they are, and they're super dumb. So I honestly think that Jill Biden is evil. I know Joe Biden's evil. I know what he did to black and brown people, what the crime bill,
all of Ukraine,
right? Funding a genocide,
the Israel thing, it wasn't so good.
Crushing a railroad union strike, so
lockdowns, mandates.
I mean, that's Rockefeller shit that he did, right? So here he is. So I'm going to just say, I think Jill Biden's evil. She's evil. But guess what? There's nobody deserves an evil wife more than Joe Biden. And his son is also evil. But here we go. Watch this.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the
So somebody's getting a Happy Meal. I'll tell you that. Joe, you answered every question. Hey, that's great. You know this was a presidential debate, not a trivia contest, right?
Yeah, right.
He answered every question, Kurt. Wow. I could see answering one or two, but every question? I'd be exhausted. This guy's got to have a lot of energy.
Yeah, he did a great job answering those questions.
Hey, you know what no one should be proud of? That crowd cheering this horse shit. Jesus.
Did they have to put peanut butter on the microphone to get Joe to go over there and look like he's talking?
Here we go.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the
You know, and every infant is proud of their very first accomplishment, which is a load of shit in their diaper. You know that. Jill Biden's been studying with the dog whisperer, Caesar.
That's what it looks like.
To reward Joe when he gets something right. That's what this looks like. You can't just scold him by rubbing his face in the pee stain on the rug. He doesn't understand why it's wrong.
Right. It's about dominance.
And it gives him an erection. So let's listen to the rest of this.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Why?
So that's their game, to call Trump a liar while they're in the middle of the biggest lie ever told in presidential politics. And that lie is that Joe Biden is not demented.
FDR's legs work better than his head.
Yeah, yes.
By a lot. Put a blanket on his head.
That was a smaller lie.
Put an FDR blanket on his head.
Yes. That was a smaller lie than the lie they're telling. That's the irony here. They're saying that Trump is a lie. He lied. First of all, Joe Biden lied so hard during that debate. He said at one point that the Border Patrol agreed with him and his policies, which led the Border Patrol during the debate to put out a statement saying, no, we don't.
Yeah, well, you saw how he answered that illegal immigrant murder thing. It wasn't good.
That was an abortion question, I thought.
I don't even know where it began.
He said they're being raped by their brothers and their sisters and uncles. You saw that, right?
Ridiculous. He goes, ridiculous. Is it ridiculous? I don't even know what. I'll be honest. Besides Trump going, I don't know what he just said. I'm having a hard time remembering anything Trump said because too busy looking at Joe making moron face.
Nobody's playing anything. Nobody's playing videos of stuff Trump said. Nobody.
Dude, Trump could have just he could have killed someone in the middle of the street and I wouldn't have noticed.
Yes,
like he said back in.
Now, that's not an accident or a mistake for Jill Biden to come out on stage. Apparently, there was an audience there, right? And say, "You did such a good job. You answered every question." Presidential debate. This is a humiliation for the American people. They're making the American people a joke, a farcical joke. Now, just imagine this guy winning the election. Right? Imagine. He stays in it to win it. And then, of course, whoever they select, a whole lot of people will run out and vote. But if he wins it, what does that say about the American people? It says a lot that we are a farcical joke, that we are just incapable, powerless beyond redemption of doing anything good. Anything. I mean, it is so horrifying to see this. How low they have brought us. Intentionally, for sure. But it would never have happened without the silent consent of the American people. So, now we're getting an infant. She presented the American people with an infant. Wow. Wow, wow. Okay, well, we all have work to do. We have to grow up. Yeah, I will say it again. Circulate the information. You take the action. You let go of the result. That's all we can do. We do, unfortunately, have an awful lot of people who are, not only are they apathetic, or now we have people that are acting in ways that it's clear that they are mentally ill. And in fact, I did notice a comment, Silent Walk, writing about the PCR test. That his wife was getting a number of PCR tests. My wife took one of those everyday swabs and completely changed personality in 4 months. It was crazy. Married, I believe, 28 years, and she walked out on the marriage. So, Silent Walk, I just want to, that's a wow. It's a big wow, and I'm so sorry that happened. What are they doing? A whole lot of this kind of behavior, we do know, can be remotely controlled. Right? Right. My wife, she moved out and wouldn't talk to me again. Totally unlike her. Married for 28 years. Jesus. Wow, Silent Walk, I'm so sorry. All right, well, we've got to keep our loved ones the best we can away from these PCR tests, from the vaccines, and just, look, you don't even have to have a PCR test. You don't have to have that fabulous, shot in the dark to bring you into the dark. Because electromagnetic frequencies can do it as well, and we know it. So, it's a very concerning time, July 4th. So many out there just so free, enjoying their fabulous American life. Wow. I mean, just what I've lived in 65 years, that's a short amount of time. That's not a long period of time. So a whole lot of this came fast. And I've said this before, as far as I'm concerned, it got real obvious after 9/11. That something was terribly wrong. And it only became more obvious as time went on. Okay, so you don't have any power or control over what the evil, psychopathic, narcissistic, subhuman, treasonous people are doing. You do have control over what you do in your communities. I will never not say this. You've got to live honestly and speak honestly. You need to establish yourself as a trustworthy human being. You need to do examination, self-examination of your own behavior, how you operate in the world. Are you consistent with your behavior? If not, get it consistent. Correct your inconsistencies. And a whole lot more. And we know it. The selfishness, the self-centeredness. Yeah, we do need to do an awful lot of work. And the immaturity that is so ingrained in the American adult. We need to grow up. So let me just check our radar one more time. All right, spreading out. Oh, look at this. This does not look good for Texas at all. Yeah, look, it's kind of like nanobots feeding into more nanobots to make a big blob of severe thunderstorms. Look at this. Boom. And we're still pulsating the Doppler radar. Right on the border of New Mexico and Colorado. The immediate manifestation of a supercell. Oklahoma, you look like you're getting pummeled as well. Into Missouri, into the northwest tip of Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky. A whole lot. Got a whole lot of extremely low frequencies blasting away Michigan. Wisconsin, how are you doing with your supercell severe thunderstorms? Iowa, doesn't look good. And we have the rolling dervish nanobots up here in Minnesota. Wow. Okay, no tornado alerts doesn't mean that anyone is safe, unfortunately. And yes, more severe weather. Oklahoma. The severe weather, the immediacy with which that supercell manifested right on the border of New Mexico and Colorado, and we've got it here in Missouri, we've got it here right in the corner of Arkansas, Missouri, Barry, McDonald, Newton, Kristen, Lawrence, Stone, Missouri, Kansas, Cherokee, Crawford, New Mexico, Colfax, Oklahoma, Carter, Garvin, Jefferson, Stevens, and Delaware, Oklahoma. All right. Stay safe, everybody. Thank you for showing up. Hope to see you tomorrow night. And on that note, good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.